Well, hey there, everyone. Long time no talk, right? I I told myself that I was going to start doing videos again on September 1st, and here it is September 7th, and I'm here. But August 2023 was hell. I know you guys may or may not have noticed that I haven't, done any videos or anything for quite some time. My dad died on August 13th. It was incredibly fast, incredibly sudden, and still kind of a mystery. If you watched any of my videos before this, I had mentioned that he was really sick, and not really sick. That's the thing. He wasn't like super ill. He was just going downhill rapidly. In the middle of July, he was driving himself to my house to eat dinner with me and mowing his grass and, doing what my dad did. And at the beginning of August, he took a severe turn for the worse, fell in the shower, and they thought that maybe he hit his head, so they took him to the emergency room. And when they took him to the emergency room, he never came out. They theorized many different things that could have been the problem. I was still screaming Parkinson's, which I will still say I believe had played part in it. There were also questionable medical procedures that were kind of coerced on the population that I'm still also believing was a problem. But his blood pressure was whack. They couldn't get his blood pressure controlled. They couldn't figure out why it was whack. His heart rate was all over the place. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They thought it was his heart. They thought it was blood clots. They thought it was kidneys. They thought it was just everything. They tested everything. Everything came back negative. They did a D-dimer test. It was in like the 700s, but that isn't always, because I think like 500 is the cutoff to say, anything 500 and below on a D-dimer test is, normal, but 700 is just a little bit above 500, and they said that elevation can be caused by things other than blood clots. So they pretty much ruled out blood clots. They still insisted he had some kind of heart valve issue, and then he didn't have a heart valve issue. Well, he was in the hospital for like 5 or 6 days, and he's 85. Was 85. And elderly people don't do well in the hospital. So he started to get the hospital dementia that some people suffer when they're older and they've been in a strange place in a hospital, blah, 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 with medications. God only knows what that did to him. But anyway, he started getting very delusional. Like, he started getting a little crazy. And one night they were giving him some type of sleeping medication. And I think that he may have had an adverse effect, like it did bad things to him. And he had an episode where he got very violent, and I guess, and I'll tell you guys right now, I have never even heard my dad raise his voice. My dad was probably one of the most passive people I have ever met in my life. He never fought, he never argued, he never raised his voice, he never lifted a hand. I mean, he did spank me a couple times, but I deserved that totally. But he was just a super passive guy. And so he ended up punching a nurse. He kicked a nurse, 2 different people. And they had to do this procedure where they turn them upside down. And when they did that, he lost consciousness and had to be intubated. And when they intubated him, it didn't quite go the way they wanted it to. I mean, they did intubate him, but it did damage to his epiglottis. So they got him stable and were able to extubate him. And when they did that, they realized that there had been severe damage to his epiglottis, and they told him that he was probably going to have a feeding tube and would have breathing difficulties for the rest of his life and would eventually die of pneumonia because when he was swallowing, it was going straight into his lungs. Like, he was aspirating everything that he was swallowing. His epiglottis was completely malfunctioned. So they said, we can put a feeding tube in and we can let him die slowly of pneumonia, or we can just leave him the way he is and let him die of pneumonia quickly. So we came together and as a family, kind of, and decided that the best bet was to transfer him to Cleveland. Okay, and so this was pretty much like they were calling family in and doing the last rites kind of things for him. And so everybody was like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Well, Dad was very lucid. He knew exactly what was going on through this whole thing, right? He was there. He was very there. And so I said, what does Dad want to do? Has anyone asked Dad? Has anyone told Dad what is going on and asked him what he wants to do? Because he is still here, And so they did that. They went in with the doctor and they explained to him what was going on and what his options were. And he said, I want to go to Cleveland. No one had even thought of that. No one had even thought of transferring him or taking him or getting a second opinion. And so when he said that, the doctor said, absolutely, we'll get you started. Well, they got the process started to get him shipped to Cleveland, and they realized that it was going to be very difficult to do that. So it took them a long time to get the transport together and to figure out how they were going to do it exactly. And all during this time, he's declining, just going downhill rapidly, right? So they get the transport ready and they send him off to Cleveland. Well, when he's 5 minutes out of Cleveland in this hospital transport, they ran out of oxygen because I guess the paramedic that was driving told the nurse that he didn't have enough oxygen to support the oxygen he was going to require, and the nurse said, oh, that's okay, he's been running at like a 6 or a 5, which was not true. He had been running at like a 15, and so they basically suffocated him on the way to Cleveland, and he coded 5 minutes outside of the Cleveland Clinic, and they had to intubate him again. And he was dead pretty much when they got him to Cleveland, and they were able to resuscitate him, and they got him back breathing and lucid again. So they brought him back. When he was in Cleveland, I think he was in Cleveland for like 5 or 6 days. Once they took him up there, I kind of had a feeling that he wasn't going to come back. I have 2 biological sisters and 4 stepsisters. And I care for my mother, my bio mom. So I wasn't able to go. One of my bio sisters and one of my stepsisters was able to go to Cleveland with him. I was going to go, but it's very difficult for me to take off and not have an end date, to just kind of leave it open like that and be like, oh, I'm going, guys, I don't know when I'll be back, because we really didn't know. That when he first got to Cleveland and they brought him back from being dead, okay, the doctors that looked at him said that they saw absolutely no reason why he shouldn't be able to recover, go into physical therapy, and come back home in like 3 months, right? They were very confident. They told us all, very confident, that there's nothing here we can't fix. He's going to be fine. Don't you guys even worry. So my sister, my bio sister that lives in Florida, flew back. She flew back to Florida because they were like, he's good. All we can see that's wrong with him is a bad case of pneumonia. And we're going to be able to take care of that. We'll be able to treat it. Your dad's going to be fine, right? So everybody breathes a sigh of relief. We think that everything's going to be wonderful. Hell no, you guys. Hell no. He fucking died 3 days later. He died 3 days later. 3 days after they told us that he was going to walk out of there in 3 to 6 months. He was dead. What the hell? How is that even possible? He just went down. He just went down. And I'll tell you what, right now, nobody was more surprised about the fact that he was dying than my dad was. Like, he literally had a little whiteboard there. I heard the whole story. I'm going to try real hard to recount it here. But he had a little whiteboard, and he literally asked if this was the end. Like, he could not believe that he was dying. Like, I couldn't believe that he was dying. The man was hardy as a horse, you guys. You have no idea. Like, and I know that the doctors and everybody were like, oh, he's 85. That's what they kept saying, you know, oh, he's 85. You know, you really have to consider his age in this whole thing. I'm like, dude, he wasn't a regular 85-year-old. You don't understand. The man was a horse. No, this is seriously, this is like 10 years premature, at least, maybe 15. The man should have lived to 100. There's no doubt in my mind that he should have lived to 100. My grandfather, his father, lived to 88, and he died in 2002. That was 21 years ago, you guys. Medicine, I hope to God, has progressed a little more than that. So I'm screaming, something went way wrong somewhere. Something went way wrong. So the 3 days that he was in Cleveland, he kept crashing. He kept having strokes. They said that he was having these mini strokes, and every mini stroke that he was having was shutting down more of his brain. And this was after they had done like a complete scan. Like, they did every scan on the man that they have available to them, and they said that the only thing they could find was pneumonia. That was it. That was the only thing they could find was pneumonia. And then 3 days later, he's having all these mini strokes, and he dies. Total mad sus, you guys. Total mad sus. I don't know, and that's left me, and I just, you guys have no idea. August has been absolute hell. Like, there really aren't, we haven't created words yet to describe what my month of August was like. I've lost my entire family, like, except for my mama. She's still here. No one gives a shit about mama, but me. It's been bad. Like, I'm not even really, not feeling sorry for myself. It's been really bad. So we may get into the drama of that, we may not. I don't know. I just, it's, what do you do, guys? What do you fucking do? I don't know. 10 chickens. So that's why I haven't been doing videos, because my life has been completely blown up. But we still have 14 chickens, and they're laying like 9 to 12 eggs a day. They're super champions. I know that the last time that we talked, they weren't laying eggs very well. Excuse me. They were on strike, I think. I think it was a general strike. And, but now, everyone's laying beautifully. As you can see, oh, it might be raining. I'm not sure. Oh well, I guess I'm getting rained on. As you can see, I've extended their run for them so that they have more room to spread about. We had a torrential downpour rain, like, somewhere in there in August, and it created this, as you see, this lovely little ditch that goes up through my yard now. And there's many drains that connect, like right up in here. Oh, where? Like right here, between the tree and the fence. And all those drains come together right there. Like there's a sump pump drain, there's a street drain, and they overflow, and then it flows straight down here, and then down here, and then it goes under the shed, and then it goes that way, like down into the woods. So we had a river flowing. I got video of it, but you know, whatever. Whatever. I won't be showing you that. But yeah, so everything has changed. Everything has changed. Unfortunately, my father passed before he could cement everything that he told me he wanted to do. So none of that is happening. The homestead is dead. Yeah, like I said, I've lost my entire family. Like, let's just say that the horror stories you hear in movies and TV, like the stuff they show you of like dysfunctional families and like, you know, how bad it gets. No, no, it can be worse. It can be worse than what you see in movies. And it can be like the movies and then beyond, because it was kind of like that. Like, I'm still having a hard time processing it all. Like, I feel like it was, I almost drowned one time. Let's have a little story time. I almost drowned one time, and I was in the New River. If you're familiar with the New River, it's very famous for rafting. There are many, I think there's like a couple class 5, class 6 rapids on the upper New or lower New. Anyway, so I was rafting, and I fell out of the boat, and I got in what they call the wave train, right? If you've ever rafted, or if you know of rafting or anything of that nature, I guess, you would probably understand what the wave train is. The wave train is like after the rapid, right, where all the white water is, there's the backflow, right, and it goes like this, and and that's where it starts to level out. Well, it looks like just undulation on the top of the water, but what it is it's actually like a sucking force that sucks you down, right? And I got caught in that. So it will suck you down to the bottom and then and let you up enough to get a breath, and then it'll suck you back down again. And that happened probably like 4 or 5 times. I got let up and then sucked back down again. And that's what this whole month felt like. Except it was constant. It was constant. Like, Dad got sick, and then he went to Cleveland, and then we got to come up for air for a minute because they said that he was going to walk out of there fine. And then he went downhill, and then he died, and that was another sucked me right back down in. And then it was the funeral, and okay, the funeral's over, I think I can come up for air. No, there's more bullshit. There's more bullshit that comes after that. And then I think that's over, and I come up for air, and then no, there's allegations, there's lies, there's complete misrepresentations of things that happened, and the only witnesses I have to what happened are dead. So it's just been an absolute nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And it's not just the fact that my dad is gone, it's everything attached to it. I never in my wildest dreams would have ever thought that this kind of tomfoolery and stupidity and just absolute madness would be going on. But it is. So, after some quiet contemplation and talking with these girls about what they want to do, talking to these girls a lot, I'm just going to continue on. What else can you do, right? Continue on with the plans that we had here. Try to expand on what I've got here, and move forward from that. What else can you do? You know, I don't even know. It's a lot. It's a lot to let go of. It's a lot to put away. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, I thought about going into, like, my dad's story is actually rather interesting. So I thought about going into that and just kind of as in honor of my father. Just kind of go through his life story and who he was, because he was a pretty interesting guy. He had a pretty neat life. But I was going to just completely not ever do videos again. Sorry guys. But my heart just really wasn't in it anymore. But I remember, oh God. I remember when I first started doing these videos, like my very first videos, I would post them on Facebook, and I hate Facebook. I won't open Facebook to this day. I've deleted it off everything I have. Facebook is the devil. But anyway, I was posting them on YouTube, and then I was putting the link on Facebook, because I do have a few friends on there. I was like, you know, maybe they'd like to see what I'm doing. Family, that kind of thing. Well, I didn't know it, but my dad was watching them. And I had had a very difficult relationship with my dad, and we had just started reconnecting, and I had been looking for a way to connect to him because I felt like I didn't really know him that well. And when I found out that he was watching my videos, I was like, okay, well that's what my new goal is. I'm talking to my dad. I'm showing my dad my chickens, right? So I realized that I can't stop. Action chicken. I have to keep doing them because they're for him. So yeah, I'm back. Sorry about all the pauses. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. But the chickens say never say die. So that's what we'll go with. So yeah, didn't mean to bring anyone down. I've been trying to, for days, I've been trying to decide whether to do a video, whether to talk about it, whether to even, but you know, what do you say? How do you talk about it? What do you do? So, I'm going to continue to make my videos. I'm going to dedicate them to my father. I'm going to persist, and I am going to tell everybody that doesn't agree with that or tries to stop me to go to hell. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, thank you guys for watching. I think we have like 192 subscribers at this point. Greatly appreciated. You guys, if you've made it this far, kudos. Because, I don't know. But, yeah, enough Debbie Downer. We'll get things back on track, and we'll get connected again, and everything will be lovely. So, you guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. And stay safe, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys.